So now we're going to talk about what we learned, the overarching, most important things that we learned. The first one we have on our list is building a business versus selling a product in a marketplace are very, very different. And we talked about that a little bit prior, so we won't dive too deep into it, but think about what you want to be spending your time doing. Is this business to generate a couple extra $100 a month? And that's going to be it? Or are you trying to build something long term? Because there's a big difference in how you're going to approach them. Are you literally just going to buy a product real cheap from a wholesaler, private label it, flip it on Amazon? Or are you going to create the world's best water bottle and build that into a household name? Completely different things, completely different strategies you're going to have to use. And think about, for you, which one makes sense right now?
Yeah. The next one is action always leads to results, but often it's not the results you expected. So we did a lot of things. You guys followed along. Thank you so much. And our goal was to earn $1,500. We didn't do that, but there were some really cool things that happened along the way. We got on the news. That was nowhere on our radar anywhere throughout this project. We never had any goal of getting on the news, but by taking action, we ended up getting exposure on the news. We've had several people just recognize us and say, I'm thinking about starting a business. Could I contact you? Could we talk about it? We've had someone reach out to us and offer to invest in our next 30-day business challenge. Again, none of those things were on our radar at all.
No.
So we would have never had any of those things happen if we didn't just take action. We had a goal, yes. We took action, yes. But the results that we found were nowhere on our radar in terms of what we were expecting to see.
And I said it yesterday, but if you put yourself in a position to win, you can win. And that's really all we did. We said, let's document us starting a business. Who knows what will happen? Let's just go do it. And that's what came of it. Everything Josh just listed.
Yeah.
So the next thing is we figured out that we learned that it's doable, it's simple, but it's not easy, and you have to do it. Meaning, there are so many resources on the internet, and probably people like us who are telling you their mistakes, the things that they did correctly, and you can go find all those things, and you can see everybody else doing it. But that doesn't make it easy. It just means that it's simple. Like, there's a process in place that if you do these things, you can expect similar results to some capacity. But you actually have to commit to doing it. You can't just watch us and think you're gonna have a business. Or you can't just watch YouTube and think you're gonna have a business. You can't just watch Gary Vaynerchuk videos, start a YouTube channel, and 3 months from now you're gonna have 1 million followers. It's just, you have to be committed to doing the things you need to do. And I think it's simple, right?
Yeah, I don't think anything we did was complicated. Let's just break down a couple of them, right? Like coming up with an idea. We just sat down and thought of ideas. You guys all have ideas.
Right.
But we did it. We took 3 hours and did it. The act was simple, but it was difficult to sit for 3 hours and do it, right? Like calling suppliers. We just had to look them up. We just had to do it. If you look back through the 30 days, 28 days so far, 29, nothing we did was incredibly complicated. We just did it. We just tried it.
And I think it's hard to just do things. And I think for us, part of what allowed us to do things is we committed to doing this, right? Like, it's easy if you're not being watched by people. It's easy to say, well, today I won't think of an idea, or today I won't make a phone call. So how do you find accountability for yourself to just go do it?
Yep. Another thing that we have on our list of things that we learned, and I think we knew this, but it kind of helped us relearn it, is that strategy is essential. So this goes back again to, are you branding a business or selling a product online? And knowing the strategy that matches up with your goals, and also the product that you're selling, all of the guidelines. So we had these made up guidelines for the 30-day business, but everybody has guidelines, right? Like, you have a certain amount of money that you're willing to spend on this. You have a certain amount of time that you're willing to spend because you have a family. You have certain hours of the day that you're not willing to work. All of those are guidelines just like we had them. You have to create a strategy that allows you to be successful inside of those guidelines that everyone has in their life.
Yep. So the strategy, I guess we're saying, might be different for someone selling on Amazon than building a
Right.
website using social media.
Absolutely. And even
Right.
strategy in terms of life stuff, right? Like Max is, how old are you? Like
22.
14? Okay, 22.
16.
And I'm 37 and I have a wife and 4 kids. So like the way we plan out our day is completely different. The way we strategize our day is completely different. But we both worked on the same project. We're both working together on things to get them done because we created a strategy that works inside the guidelines of our lives. Yours is no different when you're starting a business.
Yeah. So the next thing is you're capable of doing more than you think. What do we mean by that?
We often put limitations on ourselves that are completely made up in our heads because we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of failing in front of people, and we're afraid of trying something that doesn't work. And so we set a guideline to do this in 30 days. If we would have just set out and said, let's do this, I think Max would agree that we wouldn't have gotten this far in 30 days.
Right.
But we did because we said, we're going to do it. There's
We
accountability.
might have still been saying jerk your coffee.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And what's the law? It's the law.
Parkinson's Law.
Parkinson's
so
Law.
Whatever task you have to do will fill up the amount of time that you have to do it. If anybody is in school or has been through school, you know that if you have a month to do your paper, you're going to do it in 2 hours before it's due. Why didn't you do it in the first 2 hours of that month instead of the last 2 hours?
Yeah.
It's Parkinson's Law.
But don't think that that means I'm going to make $1 million in a year. Let's change it to 6 days, right? That's not what it means. It means not the outcome. It means what you're going to do in the time frame allotted to you. So if you said we're going to get everything for the framework of a business created in the next 72 hours, you could do that, or 30 days, you could do that. But don't make it something that's going to deter you from actually going out and doing it.
Yeah.
$1 million in 6 days, if you don't get it, you're probably going to quit. So don't think of it in terms of that, but think about the things you can personally do or you and your team can do on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
What's next?
Why don't you talk about that one?
Oh, the last one?
No, next to the last one.
Okay. So who do you think you are, right? Like, if you're watching this from the perspective of someone who's never started an online business, like we had 30 days ago, but you want to make a ton of money selling whatever online, or you want to build the biggest app, the next Uber, the next Airbnb, if that's you, who do you think you are to just go do that? You have to have expectations for not only the thing you're going to achieve, but the process, right? And that might be setting guidelines, that might be reaching out to other people for help, but set the expectations that you can live with. So if you're going to do this, if you're committing to, I'm going to start a business, I don't know what it is, these guys didn't know what they were doing, but they started. So you make the commitment. The next thing might be, let's go make $100. Let's go make $500. Let's go make $2,000. Now let's go make $10,000. Work your way through the expectations. Because if you know you can make 100, you can get 200. If you can make 2, you can get 4. So think of it in terms of growth and expectations, but expecting your results and then moving past to the next one.
Yep. And the last one we have on the list is thinking more about what are the reasons this won't work. So Max and I are both very optimistic, so we tend to lean towards, and I think a lot of people that have a lot of ideas do lean towards all of the reasons this will work. So I can give you 1,000 reasons why people should buy flavored coffee.
Well, let's do it, right? Because it's coffee. Everybody loves coffee.
Everybody loves coffee.
Flavored coffee is more popular than not flavored
Yeah,
coffee
more popular
around
than it's
certain
ever
times
been,
of the
right?
year.
It's becoming more and more popular. Yep.
Things like that.
Yeah, and so we tend to lean towards listing all the things, all the reasons that your idea or your business is going to work. We need to get in the mindset not to be negative, but to be realistic and say, what are all the reasons this is not going to work, right? Like list out 30 reasons
loves
it
coffee.
won't work. Right, everybody loves coffee is a reason that it won't work, because how do you tell everybody about your product? It sounds great in theory, very difficult in practice. So, but really sit down and make that list of all the reasons your idea is not going to work, not to deter you, but so you know what obstacles you have to overcome, instead of saying, it's all going to be perfect, and you start doing it, and now it doesn't work, and now you're completely distraught because in the middle of the process, you've put up time, you've put up money, and now you don't know how to make it work. And so there's a tool to help you with this. It's a very common one in project management called SWOT analysis, SWOT. And it's about listing what you believe your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats are. Now, there are a lot of different tools to do that, but that's one that Max and I are both familiar with, and it's really just going through this process of saying, why is this going to work, but also why is this not going to work? Where are we weak? Where are there threats in the market? Where are there opportunities in the market? And figuring that out up front before you get, $2,000 in 2 years into your, or $20,000 in 2 years into your business. Do that early.
Yep. So that is the end of what we did right, wrong, what we could have improved on, and what we learned. If you're interested in hearing more about any of these things in detail, you can always send us an email. We'll throw that on the screen right here. And tomorrow in day 30, we're going to talk about what we're doing next. So stay tuned for that. Anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, see you guys in day 30.
See ya.